manage theses. The packaging, which is a click magnet, scripting for retention, editing and sensory engagement, monetization, and the ecosystem. That's how I got to 200,000 views in 28 days. And tonight you'll get all that information and more. Get that information and more. Here's a proof right there. 210,000 views in the last 28 days. Comes from my channel. The strategic foundation and niche theses. The core principle is the outlier advantage. You want to stop guessing what works. Success is predictable. It's a result of studying outlier and applying the scientific method, which I'm going to speak of here in a few minutes. And you establish dominance in your channel if you use this methodology. The thesis launch point. Don't post randomly. So one of the suggestions is that you launch a series of video. I say 5+, it could be 3+, doesn't matter, but don't work on just one video and post and move on to the next. The way that I work is I try to work in the video series and to determine whether or not that's going to help me move forward and get additional views on that type of videos, right? So define your channel unique value proposition by doing that. Like right now, and we're talking about a masterclass, which is going to encompass all of the discussion that we have had the last couple of weeks. You'll be able to see that. The key is to identify the outlier, then apply the 3% tweak. What does that mean? Identify the outlier and then figure out what is unique to you that will help you outperform the other creator. That could be a unique thumbnail. That could be a unique script. That could be a unique title, right? So you adapt that concept. You take the outlier, you adapt the new concept, and you implement those minor tweaks and twists to make the video better. Mastermind. This is important if you can. Form a mastermind group to analyze data objectively. Get with other creators, and let them comment on your video, let them comment on your work. Learning from fun people's mistake is faster than solo learning. You'll make mistake, they'll make mistake, but you'll be able to share the data if you use the scientific method that we're about to speak of right here. It's a mastermind. Great tool. Tactical implementation. Use the incognito search and Reddit to find high demand, low solution problem. It's a great way to find out what's out there in other platforms. Don't copy anything, but just understand what's going on. If there's a high demand on another platform, most likely it will be on high demand in our platform, YouTube. You need to shift also from the view-centric to a quality-centric mindset. And I've been hacking and talking about this from the beginning. Aim for 1% improvement every time you upload your video. If you do that, eventually you will become a master. So one of the things that I've been preaching is that you don't have to be perfect when you start your career in YouTube, but you have to be willing to improve by 1% every time you create a workload. Just work in anything, a better thumbnail, a better title, a better script. Improve that by 1% and you will do great. Now, the long-awaited scientific method for testing usually starts with a question. For example, which content pillar will resonate most with my target demographics? That implies you have to know what your demographic is. If you don't know how to do that, let me see if I could quickly show you how to find your demographics. You go to analytics, You go to advanced mode. Over here on this says report. See audience by age group. Boom, there you go. There goes your demographics right here. This is my demographics. But you know, this is not only theory, it's also practice. You go to YouTube and you get your demographics, and that will help you move forward, right? So that's how you get to that, right? Which content would resonate most with my target demographics, right? And you say, which one is my target one? Well, for example, my group seems to be 65 plus. If you put the 55 plus and the 65 plus age group, that seems to be where most of my subscribers are. But look at this, lately, the 25 to 34 demographic is picking up. That's a recent trend. It used to be predominantly these two trends here. So my video resonated with a different group of people. That's why you have to check your demographics periodically and make sure that you understand what they are. So you ask the question, then how do you find out? What do you have to do after that? You research the top 10 channel in your niche. Know your competition. There's many ways to know what your competitors are. You have Mr. B's View, I think ViewMaster, what I explained to you yesterday. You have vidIQ, where you could go and search for your competitors in YouTube. Once you understand your niche, you have to know what your niche is, and then you should know your competition, and try to get at least 10 channels that could add within your niche. Like mine is veterans, hunger relief, veterans, things like that. So I have a series of channels that I follow and that I look into, and then I try to identify the top 3 outliers videos for the last 6 months. I had a complete course video on outlier, determine how to find outliers, and that was last night. So if you did not join me last night, go back and take a look at my videos and try to pull that. And also, it's gonna, when the master class is published, they'll all be together in one location. But that's just what you do. So what's the hypothesis? If I apply a 3% tweak to an outlier, right? Allow a topic, for example, veterans, will it perform my baseline view? Will it outperform my baseline views, right? That's when you actually apply the 3% tweaks. What does that mean? A, you find the outliers. B, you improve it by 3%, right? Better title, better thumbnail, better script, better music, anything of that nature will improve that. And the question becomes, will it actually improve your performance? Well, there's a way to do that, right? So you experiment, right? I said 3 videos, right? It could be 3, it could be 5, but minimum of 3. Then you follow this method right here, which is basically question, research, hypotheses, experiment, and conclusion, and communicate the result. That is the scientific method, right? So following the scientific method and 3 baseline based on your personal intuition, right? So you could do 3 and 3, right? 3 based on this method I'm describing here, and you could do 3 based on your own personal intuition. That's the experiment that you should be conducting, right? You could do it with 2, you could do it with 3, you could do it with more. The conclusion: you compare the average view duration and the click-through rates of the videos, right? And you say, if I look at these 3, okay, what are the numbers for these? What are the numbers for that? And then you're able to say, if I do my own personal intuition, I'm better than using the scientific method. So what do? You refine the thesis based on the style data validated, right? Once you know which one, if you're better than the method we are outlining, by all means, continue doing what you're doing. But at least you have a baseline from which to make changes, right? And that's what we want you to do. You conduct an experiment and see what happens. Now, what's the takeaway? Success is not a lottery. It is a systematic replication of proven formula with the upgrade. I mean the 3%. So you take whatever has worked and you improve it. And that's really what we are talking about here. Now let's talk about the next step, packaging, which is the click magnet. The core principle, ethical clickbait, and the 5 C's. The thumbnail and the title are the products. If the packaging fails, the content is invisible. It's like, for example, when you're watching a movie at home, you're looking for a movie to watch at home. You click through many little thumbnails, really what you're looking at. You may not know the right name, but you're looking for thumbnail. And you say, oh, that thumbnail looks good. Then you read the title. If both of them make sense to you, then you start watching the movie, right? So that'll get you in. But if the packaging is bad and it fails, you will never get to see the first 5 seconds of that movie. After you see the first 5 seconds or 15 seconds, you might say, I don't want to see, and you go away. But the packaging allows you to click on that video. The same thing for us. Thumbnail and packaging, thumbnail and title, are the product. If you do a good job on those two, you will get clicks into your video. This is what they call the click magnet. So if they fail, your content is invisible. You could have the greatest video ever, but no one will ever see it because you have a bad thumbnail and a bad title. Okay, great packaging bridges the gap between curiosity and delivery, right? So you want to create a thumbnail and a title that will get the viewer curious about your content. And if they are curious about your content, they're going to click on it and they're going to give you the kind of views that you're looking for and potentially the kind of information that you are seeking for from the experiment. The 5 C's of visual, right? The composition. Look at the thumbnail in total. Does it make sense to you? Like, for example, let me see if I could show you the thumbnail for tonight. I should have got it up already, but I don't. That's a different one. And this is a good point that I'm going to make here. So look at it in totality. Does it make sense? Does the graphic make sense? Does the words deliver a promise? YouTube Masterclass, get more views and complete blueprint. Now, I want to show you this because this is an important factor. Let me see if I could get to it. I created 2 different thumbnails, just like I do more than one. This one said get 1 million views, the complete blueprint, but I don't have a video that has 1 million views. So I said, like, why would I do that? Maybe that's my aspiration to do that, but that would be to me a clickbait, right? Oh, I want to get 1 million views. But in reality, when I'm showing you your data, you'll find out that, well, you don't have 1 million views in this video because it just got posted. So it's better for you to be honest, basically, and be able to say, get more views, right, rather than get 1 million views. And that's what I mean. You look at the information. Does it make sense? Is it visually stunning? Is the information accurate? Is the information something that someone is going to click to, or is it going to be a clickbait? You have to be careful with what you're doing. So for that reason, give me 2 seconds because I just noticed something, which I thought it was not a problem, but I guess it is. My window was frozen, so I was not showing you anything. I'm actually going to change right now, but I want to be sure that you guys were looking at the right same information that I was looking at. Anyway, so that's what I mean by looking at the composition, looking at the context, looking at the cleanliness and the curiosity between the different elements. It's a big difference saying get 1,000,000 views to get more views, right? Big difference on that. And I know what my thing is saying, but the one that you have versus the 1,000,000 view versus the one that I posted, I different, right? The one that I posted for the live event is different than the one that you're looking at right now. Why is this thing frozen? I don't understand. Replace window, share. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty here. My initial scene is sort of frozen in time, so I believe I fixed it already. We should be able to get through that with no issue. But we'll get to it soon. So I have a lot of that. Only spoken about 2 different concepts anyway. So we should be able to catch up with that and shake. Okay, let's moving on. Cultural surfing. So borrow authority by using a recognizable logo, like for example, the YouTube logo, the logo for your channel, the names. Should be like an odd, like a 9 instead of 10. Things like that. Like for example, I said 28 days. Even though it's not like a specific number, seems to be an odd number. Like why not 30 days? But we all know why 28 days, because YouTube tracks 28 days, so that's not a big issue with anything like that. So anyway, let's move on. The next factor here is, for God's sake, my thing is frozen. This is interesting. It never happened before. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to restart it. I never had the screen being frozen before, so it's the first time for everything. But it should change now. Okay. The next one is realism factor. There you go. High contrast. Realistic human expression often outperform exaggerated YouTube face and graphics. And I'm going to give you an example. I have used this more than once, and which I kind of like. But you see, this is sort of try to, if I want to grab attention in a video that I'm working on, sometimes I would use expression like these that you could use, and basically you could get in on. I just used it in a video. That's one, and this is another. I'm going to show you a second one like this. There you go. So I mean, sometimes they do attract attention. And but the party line is that realistic human expression often outperform exaggerated YouTube face graphics. Now that is a person, and they're making an exaggerated expression, but sometimes that type of thing outperforms like graphics and stuff like that you might see. I have used it. People have commented on that, and they kind of like it. So that's really great. Now, the next one, tactical implementation. And this is something that I use quite frequently on my video. I use A/B testing for just about everything. I'm going to see if I can show you that quickly or not. Content. Most likely you'll find this mostly in my video. Let me see. Let me see if I have it on this one. Yeah, you see it right here. A/B testing on that. And I just posted this one recently. And you have 3 different titles. Sometimes you get A/B testing on thumbnails, but sometimes you do not. You get a chance to improve it if you need to. So using A/B testing is really a good way to provide your viewers different perspective on what you're doing. And another thing you want to look at your tactical implementation is what we call the loss aversion trigger. For example, you have been lied to or stop doing this. People wants to always do what's right, and they don't want to know that they're doing something wrong. So when they kind of see that they might be doing something incorrectly, they'll probably pause. They may not follow you on that, but it looks like some people do pay attention to it. And basically, so you may want to try that loss aversion trigger when you're creating your title. So A/B testing thumbnail that utilize the uncanny or simple guide aesthetics, right? Like I said earlier, you may not be able to use A/B testing every single time, but if you can, you create our video IQ. You create multiple thumbnail, and you either do A/B testing if the tool allows you to do so, or basically what you would do is, if the tool does not allow you to do A/B testing, post your video and let it run for a week or so. And if you begin to see a decline in your performance, like less view, change the thumbnail, change the title, and see what happened. So let's look at the scientific method to see how that would work. The question: which visual trigger maximizes CTR for my specific audience, right? Click-through rates, CTR, right? That's the real question that we should be asking ourselves. Now, what's the research? We could research BuzzFeed style title versus minimalist title in your niche, right? Or you could look at things like vidIQ that kind of allows you to you could do some research and get some information about it. And let me see if this one does it for me. Sometimes I do get a score on my titles. This one, they don't have scores. But sometimes I get scores on my title telling me which title are doing better than others. And when that happens, then I'm able to basically apply which one is best for my title. So what would be the hypothesis? Using a specific odd number and high contrast real face will increase CTR by 15%. So let's look at that for example. This right here. Let me see if I could, maybe I just start the video and then stop pausing. So here we have a real person, right? Now I could just have easily have put my face in there if I wanted to, right? But usually I do, sometimes I don't. So this time I didn't, right? But the facts still remain, right? So using a high contrast real face will increase CTR by 15%. How do you know if that's true or not? You release 2 videos with identical content but different packaging style, or use the A/B testing on YouTube, right? Use that tool that I mentioned for title and for, if you can, for thumbnail, right? So if it does not allow you to do thumbnail, release a video, like I said, with identical content but make some minor changes, such as the thumbnail and the title, and then see which one does better. Conclusion: if the winning variable, what is the winning variable? Is it the color, the text, or the face, right? So you have to probably formulate a guess based upon that, and then you communicate the result, which is standardized the winning element as a brand trademark, right? So whatever worked for you, that becomes part of your brand trademark, right? For example, there are some people that say, "Oh, using my face every time is part of my brand trademark," right? So if they find out by doing the experiment here that truly they do better by putting their faces on the thumbnail, people will recognize it. Like for example, Mr. B is totally recognizable, understandable why his face will be on every single thumbnail that he publishes, even though I think that he does, right? But if I put my face in, people are going to say like, "Who is this individual?" But if I start right away, eventually, as I keep growing and growing, I get more subscribers. They begin to know my face and say, "Oh, I know that person. I know the quality of video that he puts together," and they will just click on it just because they recognize my face. So that will be the advantage of doing that. But you have to test it and see what you think. So what's the takeaway? Packaging is an invitation, not a trick. Remember, you want to watch a movie and you start looking through the thumbnail that you see on TV, and then the title, right? Now, you could trick the viewer into clicking on your movie into your clicking into your video, but pretty soon they're gonna stop watching it, and then you're gonna see your retention rate drop like a rock in the first 5 or 6 seconds, right? That happens to what I mean. It's gonna drop anyway, but you don't want that to happen to you. You want it to happen to other people. Well, not really, but you certainly don't want it to happen to you. But if you trick people by using clickbait, that's exactly what's going to happen. And remember, I think YouTube, the first 30 they have to stay watching your content for 30 seconds before you get credit for a view, right? So if they don't watch for 30 seconds, you don't have anything. That's my understanding anyway. You want to over deliver on the promise to turn the clicker into a subscriber. Now, I said at the beginning of this that I was going to show you how I got 200 views in exactly 21 days. Now you may not see that, but I did show you this right here, which shows 210,000 views in 28 days, the last 28 days. I saw that, right? Then I said, you see how I did it? Using the strategic foundation niche and thesis, packaging for click, scripting for retention, right? Editing, which I haven't, you'll see later, and monetization and the ecosystem, right? So then I went through and I showed you the strategic foundation, which basically talks about outliers and using the scientific method together to be able to establish dominance in your channel, right? I said, how you do that? You take 5 videos, or 3 on 3 videos, and you define the channel unique value and proposition, and you get the outliers. You tweak it by 3%. What is it? What is it? 3%? It could be music. It could be title. It could be thumbnail. It could be the script. It could be the color scheme. It could be anything. You change that outlier by 3%. You do not copy it. You don't just bring it in unchanged into your video, into your channel. You have to improve it and make it better. You have to repackage and rebrand it. And then I said, use a mastermind group of 5 people or more and learn from the mistake and learn from your mistake, right? So, and then I show you for the first time the scientific method, which is basically question, research, hypotheses, experiment, conclusion, and communicating the results, right? And basically, I'm taking into a couple of examples how to do it. The first one was which content pillar will resonate most with my target demographics. And I show you how my demographics, how do I got to my demographic? I showed you that I went to content. I went to content, I think. No, I went to analytics. I went to advanced mode right here. And then I went to demographics. And I show you my demographics. No, that's geographical location. If I don't. Audience by age and gender. I show you my demographics right here, which are 65 plus and 25 and 34. And you see a variety here. So I have a pretty wide range group of people that watch my video, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad, because that means that some video that will resonate with this crowd here, with the older crowd, and there are some work that I'm doing that will resonate with the younger crowd, the younger viewers, right? But if I know my demographics, I know exactly who I'm writing to, right? And I say, this is how you do it. You do an experiment. You compare by using the average view duration and the click-through rate, and then you find out which one is the better. And you'll find out that success is not a lottery, right? It's basically the result of hard work. The second one that I talked about was packaging, which is to get more clicks, right? I said, do not use clickbait, right? Because thumbnail and titles are your product, basically. You need to be able to deliver on those to your viewers, and if you do, you will be able to maintain them on your channel, and you'll be able to be rewarded with lots of views. So I also conducted, let me see, I was talked about the composition of the thumbnail, and I showed you basically how the thumbnail, which I think is here, well, you cannot see it, it's really small right now. You have to take a look at your thumbnail, and I could find another area that has it, but I probably will. Let me double check here, go here, here. And it was this one here. I said how you take a look at your totality at your thumbnail, and basically look at it in totality to see if you actually convey the information that you want to be presented at your video. And you have to stay true to that account in your delivery of the product, on the delivery of your information to your viewers, right? Now, I talked about realism, and I say high contrast. Realistic human expression often outperform exaggerated YouTube-based graphics, right? And I show you an example here, or one of them. I think it will work. Let's see. So you two of them, just one of them. I used that one, and people said, "Oh, what is that? I don't know exactly what that is," and they kind of found it to be kind of interesting. This is another expression, depending on what you are showing. So you have one more, and then I'll move on. They show different emotion that you can create, and depending on what section of the video you're using it, and basically that will give you a different dimension, right? People will say, like, they may not know what that means, but if a person is sad or happy or surprised, and you show graphics of that, then they might be able to to kind of step back and say, oh, I understand now. I got my attention. I talked about using A/B testing for titles and A/B testing for thumbnail. I will also discuss the loss aversion trigger that you can use in your title. For example, you have been lied to, or stop doing this, stop doing that, and you will find that people somewhat pause for a second because people want to be sure they're doing the right thing, and basically those kind of loss aversion trigger will make them pause, most likely, and not look at your video. Now, once again, I introduced the scientific method to test to see whether or not it is correct, right? And I said the question was, which visual trigger maximizes CTR for my specific audience, right? And what's the research? You compare BuzzFeed style title versus minimalist title, or you use A/B testing, right? Then using a specific odd number and high contrast real face in your thumbnail will increase my CTR by 15%. And this is where I talked about basically adding either your face or a face on your thumbnail to see that increase of click-through rates. I do find that it helps me. I don't know if it's by 15%, but the question becomes, do I want to have my face on the thumbnail, or do I want to have a random face on the thumbnail? People like Mr. Beast is totally recognizable. Everybody knows him. His face would do great in anything that he posts, because when I see his face, I kind of pause to see what's going on. Like today, I saw one of his video that he put in. I think it was yesterday. I mean, he was getting like 1 million views just on a live stream. 1 million views in a live stream. I'm lucky if I get 10 people. He was getting 400,000 comments on his live feed. So can you imagine that? A person like that basically putting up his face on any thumbnail would immediately attract attention. But you have to decide, is it the same thing for you? Do you want to build a brand that people will recognize your face and associate the kind of video that you put together based upon that? Many people do, and that basically is could be a winnable solution for you or not. So the conclusion is, identify what's a winning variable. Is it your face? Is it the color? Is it the text? Is it the face? You have to understand what that is. And then whatever that is, it becomes part of your brand trademark. Takeaway: packaging is an invitation, not a trick. Over deliver on the promise to turn clicker into a subscriber. Now let's go back to the next one here. Scripting for retention. Oh, excuse me. Apologize for the coughing. I'm going to make one change here. So that I made this change already. So basically what we're talking about here today is a scientific framework. So I'm going to call the word jam. Doesn't matter. I mean, it's jam vegetable. It's the same thing. As you could tell, I'm developing the script and developing the information as I go forward. That happens very, very frequently. I'm usually start with a broad concept of what I'm doing, and then I begin to go through the information. I begin to make changes, try to improve it, and then from here, I will create a script. Let me see if I have. This is sort of like the prompt that I'm going to do to create a script. And then from there, I will create a script that looks something like this. And then from there, basically, I will create a draft video, and I begin to make changes on that. And then once I get to the point that I have all the information that I want, I will begin to sort of improve it little by little, right? But one thing I want to make sure is to have script for retention, right? What does that mean, right? Retention is won in the first 30 seconds. I could argue with you, it could be won in the first 5 seconds, the first 10 seconds. So if you're doing a short, you have to hook them within the first 5 seconds, otherwise they're gone. Longer video, 30 seconds is good. But for shorts, you're talking about maybe like 10 or 15 seconds, 5 to 15 seconds. No, 5 or 10 seconds maximum. A scripting must confirm the click immediately and provide a roadmap that keeps the viewer moving through the problem solution cycle, right? So one of the things you want to do is when you're scripting, you want to present the viewer with a problem, with a challenge. And then as you develop your script, you want to kind of guide him through that solution, guide him through that cycle. And basically by using the scientific method, which I have provided you a couple of examples already, it's a way to say, hey, here's a problem, that's the question, and here is a solution, right? So if you look at scientific method style intro, right? So deliver on the results in the introduction, address the objection, be instant, explain why now, and establish the why you, right? Not only why now, but why is your video more compelling than the information that's out there? So you have to be able to establish that. The 4-step claim: state the problem, reveal a shocking truth, show the evidence, promise the solution, right? That's another way to present the data. And I think the scientific method does exactly that in a question and answer kind of information, right? Hook with dopamine style, high energy, but transition into a deep, meaningful value. That will get the viewer invested in what's going on. Like, for example, when I said I got 200,000 views in exactly 21 days, you say like, oh my God, if you have 1 million views, you say, well, I don't need that. But for most people, they will say, oh, I want to know how they did that. Even for me, if somebody tells me that, I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to listen, because that doesn't happen every day. Or maybe I hit a lucky video and it got me there. But maybe not. Maybe it was the hard work that I've been putting together on my channel to get me there. You never know. We'll see. We'll conduct more experiment. So you want to have a high dopamine style, high energy hook, but then you want to make sure you have enough information to keep him watching the information that you are presenting, right? So this is important. You aim for a 5th to 7th grade reading level. Some of us think we're very smart. Some of us know we're very smart. And some of us do not know if we're smart, right? But the point is, for what we do, we want to be sure that we are talking to a broader audience. And we want to be sure we keep the reading level at 5th or 7th grade. The simpler is the language, the more friction you will remove, the better the communication that will continue between you and your viewers. Use visual anchors. For example, does your presentation pass a napkin test? Can you explain in a simple drawing? A circle, you draw in a napkin. Anybody knows what that is? Square, you know what that is in a napkin. Real easy to explain. So if you visualize simple enough to basically translate to that level, then you should be able to speak with clarity. Should be able to demonstrate your mastery of the topic at hand. You should be able to show a visual that leaves no question as to what you're communicating. Next, confirm clicks within the first 7 seconds. See, different time frame here. So to me, it's between 5 or 7 seconds, especially if you're doing shorts. If you're doing a long video, people expect give you a little more preview before they get to the point. But no, when you're doing a video, no long introduction like, "Hi, my name is X, Y, and Z, and I'm writing." No, none of that stuff. Just keep it short, keep it simple. Do not spend the first 30 seconds showing the logo for your channel. You don't need that, right? So how do you test that? The question is, at what point are viewers dropping off and why? The key to that is analytics, right? I've been doing that the last couple of nights, so tonight I'm not going to show you the analytics because you can simply go and basically you go to, I've been showing you analytics for a while now. I'm going to show you one more time. So that I wasn't going to do it, but what the heck. And I'm going to pick one. Probably it has a good retention, has a bad retention, doesn't matter. Most videos have, they don't have great retention, but double determination. I don't know what this is. I don't even know what this is, but I'm going to look at it anyway. This one doesn't have any. It probably just published. That's why. Some of this I just draft one. Okay, this is one that just got published, so maybe it has some data. Okay, this one does. So this one has actually great retention, right? The average view duration was 3.4. The average percentage was 103%. So this one has great retention. I haven't seen one this great for that. This just got published a couple of days ago. So at least the retention is great for that. Let's look at one that's not so perfect. This one just got published today. Most likely won't have anything. Let's look. Now these are live videos, right? So you see this one, a lot of interest right at the beginning, and then it fell down to 14%, 6%, went back up. So you see that two different ones, right? So what you want to aim for is, for sure, you want to have 70% for long videos, long form of video. You want to have at least 30 to 40%. So that's what you're aiming for, right? So study your retention graph, which is what I just showed you in YouTube analytics for dips. Right? It's the dip that I show you coming down. So your one video will stay pretty consistent at 100%, but another one will actually drop quite a bit. So those are what you got to look at. So when you're doing, when you want to ask yourself, at what point are my viewers dropping off? Then that's what analytics will tell you that. The why could be your hook, could be the information you are delivering. I know when I'm doing live show, the first 30 seconds for me, I've been trying to improve on that because I was having issue understanding that I had to treat a live event like I treat a video, where in the first 30 seconds I need to be able to deliver the hook, and I need to be able to provide information that will keep an interest, that will keep the audience interested. And if you remember, let me see, I'm on the scripting. When I started, the first thing that I said was how I got 200 views in exactly 28 days. That was done to spark some curiosity. And then I said how, then I introduced the 5 elements that I used to get there, right? And I already spoke of the first 3. So the point is, if you're following the video, you say, okay, what are the last 2? editing and sensor engagement. Is that interesting? Maybe I'll stay. Monetization. Everybody wants to know about monetization, so maybe I'll stay for that. So that's the whole key, right? You want to build curiosity by having a hook at the beginning. You want to have a list of things that you're going to be talking about during the video to keep the audience engaged. And periodically, you kind of let them know this is where we are right now, like I'm doing at this moment. And they hope that they will stay for the end, and you increase your number of views, and you increase your number of watch hours and things of that nature. So if you think this methodology is good, leave us a comment on the video, and we'll move on. If you don't think it's a good one, let us know. We'll make some improvement for the next one. Let's see if we could find the next one. Pillar 4. We talked about that. The hook. Pillar 4. Right in the. Oh, sorry. Okay. So we talked about that. We talked about the dropping off of your viewers and where to get the information is on analytics, and what to do, which is to study the retention graph and look for dips, right? Look for now where does it dip, where does the information dip, and basically be able to do something to change that. You want to do another hook, another curiosity loop at that point, so you get the people to stay with you. Now, when you're writing a video, it's kind of easier because you can always make changes as you go along. But when you have a live event, it's a lot more difficult because in reality, you just start and you go forward, right? Now, you might be able to edit that out after it's published, but at the beginning, it's kind of hard to do. And that's a lesson that I had to learn, and I'm still learning to this moment, okay? So if I replace the hypothesis, if I replace a 20-second intro with a 5-second result first intro, will I increase 30 seconds retention by 20%, right? So I tried to do a video for me, and that kind of didn't work. For me, it didn't work. That was because I had some technical difficulties, but because also the video that I had was longer than 20 seconds and longer than 5 seconds, and it wasn't really for the topic that I was addressing. So I had to create a brand new one, and I will conduct a second experiment. For me, it didn't work the first time, but I'm quite sure the second time I will get better at it. Experiment: script 3 new video using the scientific method framework versus the old vlog style introduction, right? So once again, using the scientific method to try to improve what you're doing. Conclusion: verify the retention curve remains flatter during the intro phase, right? So in the two videos that I showed you, one was a video for a live event, and the other one was a video for a regular long form video, right? So you can see that in one area I seem to have mastered the intro, and the other one I have some work to do. Sounds great. Communicate the result, update the script template, and eliminate any dead air segment. Takeaway: the viewer's time is a currency. Respect it by providing constant rehook and a clear path to the promised results, right? So the time is precious, so you don't want to kind of waste that. So you want to be able to go ahead and basically have them be invested in what you're doing. And if you make a promise in your title and thumbnail, deliver it to the T, or even better before you get there. Number 4, editing and sensor engagement. We have this one, and we got one more. The core principle: pacing paradox. Editing should enhance the story, no distraction from it. Use dopamine fast cut for energy. So let me see. I have one that I'm kind of editing right now. So this is not related to what we're doing here, But basically, I'm gonna see if I could go to the edit right here. No, that's this different one. It is here. So if you see there are literally no dead space between, like in here. There's a gap in here. You see that? But there's music being played at that point, so the music complement that dead space in there. So basically, what you want to do is when you're editing the video, if you see dead space, you could just cut it off. And I'll show you how to do it with this DaVinci Resolve. You basically take the blade and you go, I'll show you here, cut and cut, right? And then you could do a ripple cut, which people say do that, or you could just do a cut. A cut leaves a gap. A ripple cut would have coated everything, and basically would allow you to delete part of the music and part of the script, which is not what I want to do. So I want to do any of that. So I'm gonna just undo it because this is just an experiment. But that's how you do it, right? You kind of use the coding tool and you basically take out the dead space. So you don't want to have, and what I would do is your video would go pretty fast from one stage to another. Like that one that I just showed you is like a 15-second short, and I had the original video that I got was like almost a minute and a half. But there was a lot of stuff in there that was not related to the story. So anything that was not related to the story, I was able to cut. I was able to add music. I was able to add different elements to it and make the video really, really fast. And within, maybe this is not great for you, but within a couple of hours, I got 2,000 views on that one for another channel, and probably still going, but I haven't looked at it today. So, you know, it does work. It was a 15-second video, fast pace, you know, dopamine style with dopamine fast cut, and that made it more easily clickable when it comes to doing shorts. Okay, so think about that. Supporting points, the problem solution rhythm. Every segment should solve a problem. Question while raising a larger one. Right. So, like I say, if you use this scientific method, you have this question and answer kind of period that basically would allow you to do that. Visual trademark: use specific music, unique gift, and juicy audio preset to create an instant or recognizable brand sound. Right. So, on the video that I just showed you, we have a specific music that we use for those type of videos. And we have some of the graphics that are specific to that style of video. So therefore, once you see that video, you say, "Oh, I know what that is," and basically you expect to see certain things, and people will begin to associate that. It's called trademark here, but that's a specific legal term. But the type of video with the type of work that you do. So you use those presets to create instant recognizable brand sound and pictures and element. And this is something that we talked about earlier in the last couple of days: efficiency over perfection. Adapt the winning mindset. Prioritize shipping high quality volume over agonizing over a single perfect frame, right? So this is the good enough section of the video. Right, you have to get to the point that's good enough. It does you no good to work in a video for a whole year and you post it and then you get 0 views. You have to do another whole year before you get the next video. Now, if you do take your time and deliver high quality products, but it doesn't have to be perfect, is what I'm saying. Implement. Use keyboard shortcut. Ripple delete is what I was showing you earlier. And if I'm gonna show you report delete, so in case you guys don't never seen it before. Let's see. Let's go back to this one here. Let's go back to this. See if you notice the difference. Look at the report delete. What happened? Look at the. First of all, I'm gonna show you just a cut, right? A cut just took that section out, right? So let's undo that. Now let's do a report delete. You see that? It took the whole section of the video and it collapsed it into itself. I'm gonna put it back because I actually need that section right now. I'm undoing all this cut right here, right? So if you don't know how to do report delete, that's how you do it on DaVinci Resolve. I'm quite sure you could do that in other tools as well. But if you use DaVinci Resolve, I think it's a pretty good tool, and it's free. You could do that. You could do add and edit, 10x your speed. So by deleting the dead space, you could make your video faster, which would be the audience will kind of enjoy that because the currency is time, and you want to be sure that you are delivering something that they are able to look at, react to it, and move forward to the next one, right? Prioritize audio quality. Clear, resonant voiceover is more critical than 4K resolution. That is the truth, right? Voiceover is really the key a lot of time to getting the person to stay on your video. Next, incorporate reaction strategy. React to industry news or viral clip using other people's content to tap into the existing momentum, right? And that's what we're talking about earlier, right? Looking at the video that has gone viral from people within your channel to see what they are doing and be able to emulate, be able to mirror some of the things that they are doing in your work. So that way you are able to continue to make progress and be able to get more views. So let's do, how do we apply that using the scientific method? The question is, does dopamine style editing or talking head authenticity leads to a higher watch time, right? That's the question that we ask ourselves, right? So what's the research? How do we do a research on that? We find successful creator in your niche who will use constructing editing style, right? So remember, I said look at 10 of your competitors, and you begin to look at what they are doing and what's making them successful. If they are talking heads, if they are no talking heads, if they are just regular YouTuber and they're having success, then you have to figure out which style works for you best and emulate them, right? For me, for the longest time, I was using faceless concept because it was kind of, when I started, it was kind of the best thing to do. But then when I needed watch hours, right? So I began to do more live events, live show, and that has helped me increase the watch hours to the point that makes sense for me. So, what is comfortable for you? Is it to have to be a talking head? You have this fast speaking style that delivering that dopamine style editing. Are you authentic when you speak? Those are the things you have to make a determination based upon the things that you have. So adding B-roll and text overlay over 5 to 7 seconds will reduce dropping off during educational segment. So, like for example, and I'm not gonna show you much of the video of this one that I'm editing, but let me see if I could. This one doesn't have B-rolls. But usually it has it in the background, but it's kind of hard to show But you could have background video, and that would allow you to basically show the B-roll, you know, or what text overlay. So this one has text overlay. So this one, for example, you see it right here. By the way, this is what was there. We changed it to this, and this one has a text overlay right there. See that milestone hit, blah blah blah. So that's a text overlay for what we are speaking of, right? So that will reduce drop off during educational segment or during any video. You know, sometimes you want to flash a question in the middle of the video and sort of like kind of get people engaged. Like, for example, if you like the video, say hello in the comment. And people sometimes will do that. They have done it to some of the videos that I've done. So what's the experiment? Okay. You edit half of a video with high frequency cuts and the other with steady, fast pace, right? Analyze the relative retention tool and using analytics, right? So basically, you could do that within the same video. Hopefully you do it within 2 videos. And then you look at the retention of the both video like I did earlier. And you say, what did I do in this video that I have a higher retention rate? And what did I do in this video that I have a lower retention rate? And be able to emulate what you did on the next video. That's your 1% increase. The 1% get better on the next video. So that's good, right? Balance production value with the paradox of production. Keep it raw enough to feel real, right? So this is really sort of kind of cool, right? So you balance your production value with the paradox value. It's it's what I call it, the good enough concept once again, right? That's what I kind of deem it to be, right? Key takeaway: editing is the heartbeat of your video. Use it to control the viewer's emotional state and focus. So editing is very important. I spend a lot of time editing the videos. I'd like to use DaVinci Resolve because it gives me a lot of flexibility. As you can see here, I have my music. Here I have my voiceover here. Second layer. Excuse me. I have a layer of video here. I have a second layer of video here. I have my titles. I have my video transition, which are these right here. So all of that's really kind of help. I wish there was a video that I could show, but it's for an individual, and I cannot show this video right now. But that's what it is. That's what you want to do with that. Now, before I get to that, I want to make sure that I have delivered on everything that you guys that I have said I was going to deliver, right? At the beginning, I said I got 200,000 views in 28 days using the following. I believe that I've spoken about the strategic foundation and the niche thesis. I spoke about packaging with thumbnail and title to create a click magnet. I talked about scripting for retention, and I just finished talking about editing and sensory engagement, right? Now, the fifth and final one, which you want to listen to, is monetization and the ecosystem. That's why most people are here. This is all that is great. The question is, how do I make money? How do I get to be monetized, right? And that's hopefully we're going to get to that in a heartbeat. Sorry about these dark lines. They just mean something that is not part of the presentation tonight. So the core principle: solving recurring pain points. Don't chase the views if you want to make money. Build a funnel, right? True monetization comes from identifying deep-seated problems in your niche and providing a structural solution, right? see a problem, find a solution. I mean, that's very simple. See a need, fill a need. See a need, fill a need. Right? See a problem, find a solution. If you are the kind of a person that are looking for the problems that I that I that your viewers are experiencing, and you're giving a solution, you're gonna get all the views that you ever need. You'll get all the subscribers that you ever need. You build a funnel with those sort of questions and problems, and you begin to find solutions, and eventually the views and the money will come. Right? Funnel architecture. Use YouTube for reach, and then they say use Discord and community for engagement. Right? So I kind of agree, but I kind of disagree with my own writing because although this is great, Discord is not it's not going to give you any engagement points on YouTube. Now the YouTube community engagement will, right? Because you're keeping them within your own videos, your own channel. Now Discord is good. I have a Discord account. It is really good. It gives you a lot of different benefits that you don't get on YouTube, like storage and things of that nature. But when you're starting, you do want to keep people on your channel, so you get the watch hours that you need in order to get to be monetized. So good suggestion. You have to time when you actually do this. Okay, it's not a place for it when you're starting. You do want to join Discord and join communities, so those communities will translate into potential subscriber to your channel, right? So ethical marketing. This is about product placement. Place product mention or lead magnet at the end of the video or in the community tab to avoid damaging retention, right? So if you, for example, have a product that you want to sell and you talked about that right at the beginning, people say, this is just a sales pitch, and they will kind of leave your video and they don't get a chance to see your product. So basically, they do it at the end of the video. So by the time they get there, they'll say, okay, yeah, if you want to buy it, they understand that they got it. The scientific 4,000 path. Systematic testing of high intent topics, right? How to scam hack to bridge the gap of monetization quickly, right? So this is in the same context of see a need, fill a need. See a need, fill a need. See a problem, find a solution, right? A lot of the how-to, like for example, getting 4,000 hours is a big thing for the community right now. So if you have any ideas how to do that, then by all means put it out there. Like for example, one of the things that I was reading this week as well. Well, let's do a video about this topic, about that topic. In order to do that, one of the topic was a master class. I said, you know what? I don't have a master class on my menu. So can I create one based on the content that I have provided already? It turns out that I can. So that's how you kind of move forward to, to sharing what you know and seeing that if you see a problem out there, a niche that needs to be filled, you basically can put together a response or a video that actually solve that problem. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Tactical implementation. Identify billionaire problems. What are the high ticket questions your audience is asking, right? So if the audience is asking your question, you have to respond to every comment that you have. If they're asking you questions that you may not know the answer, you have a duty to kind of research it and go out there and try to provide a solution for them. Find solution, save this specific issue, solve this specific issue. Leverage cultural surfing. to align your products with currently trending solution, right? Well, our products is basically delivering video, right? And our niche, right? So find out if your product, your videos, can solve current problems in the community, and then work on that. How you do that? Again, turn over to the scientific method to see how I could do that. What products or service is my audience most willing to pay for? Now, that's when you're in the monetization phase. You see people selling t-shirts, there are people selling product. You see people selling other YouTube services. And if you think people are willing to pay for that, then that's a question you should be asking. Then what's the research? For the community and analyze the top selling products in your competitor. There's a whole video you could do doing that. So I will not attempt to give you a short, other than pulling your community. There are other products you could do to be able to do that, especially like if you work with Amazon and things of that nature. They will tell you the top selling products and they will be able to help you with that. Hypotheses. Is offering a specific product like a t-shirt for $10, will it convert at 1% of the total view? So the question is, is it selling, for example, Mr. B's view stat for a whatever the price is? In your case, would be a discount maybe. Will it convert at 1% of the total view? Right. So if you're able to answer that question, then you're good to go. How you do it? You launch a minimum viable product MVP via the community tab, posts, or video end cards. Right, to see that work. Conclusion: measure the conversion rate and customer feedback. If you do that, communicate the result. Scale the products or pivot the offer based on sales data and other comments. Takeaway: a channel is a business, not just a hobby. Treat every video as a data point that refines your sales funnel. And with that, I'd like to say good night. There will be more videos coming up. Thank you for spending your time with me. Good night.